Hey everybody, my name is Michael Bourque. I'm from PDSVISION. I have with me a very interesting guest named Ender Cengiz, and he is from a company called MANUS NC. MANUS NC is a company based in Turkey that has a very interesting product in the realm of post-processors. I've been working in post-processors for many years, and I find it to be a very difficult step. It's very difficult to create post-processors these days. There's only a handful of companies that I know that make them or have solutions for them. And I met Ender over LinkedIn, and he told me about his solution. Of course, I was fascinated. And we've ever since then kind of got to meet each other at the recent PTC user event. And I mentioned to Ender, you know what we should do? We should have an interview where I get to interview you, ask you some questions so people can get to know about your very interesting company. So welcome, Ender. It's nice to meet you today. How you doing?
Yes, thank you. And thank you for all your support and for organizing this interview. And I hope it will be helpful for everyone to learn what we are doing and how we are solving these big headaches about CNC post-processing and CNC simulation.
So for the other people listening, I want to just tell you briefly in my own words what I think is kind of special about what you guys are doing. Like I said, I've used different post-processor technologies, and it usually involves a lot of work to get through the user interface. It involves a lot of setup. It involves a lot of experience that you need. What I really find very fascinating about your product is it's all web-based. When I first learned about your product, I got right on the web, and in a matter of minutes, without even putting a credit card in, I was developing my own post-processor using what I'll call your sort of no-code web-based solution. It was very easy to go through. It just asks you questions. You can actually pick from already pre-built post-processors, which is a great thing. And then you can download, or I should say upload, your MCL file from whatever CAM system you're using. And in just a matter of minutes, I was testing, this post-processor, and I thought it was a very interesting way to get started. So and then I also learned that you also make other products like Creo, like some simulation software to simulate the machine tool. But I just wanted everybody to know, in my mind, this is a complete breakthrough for our post-processors, because as you may know, it's just a very difficult process to go through. And you've really done a great job with your website, making it very easy to use, making it simple. Like I said, I didn't need to pay for anything. I was able to go up there and upload my NCL file from my CAM system, which happens to be Creo, but I see that you support all major CAM systems. And the ability for me to just download that post-processed file and start testing it, I thought was excellent. Something else that I did is I had a machine tool called a Penta Pocket NC that I needed a post-processor for. I did get a little help from your team, which is another thing I think is great, is that you have a whole team there that can support the usage and the modifications of the post. But in a very short amount of time, I was able to write a 5-axis post processor for this little machine tool that I brought to a PTC conference and showed it off. And that's, again, where I met you in person. You actually came down there with me with that CNC machine, and we sort of showed it off to everybody, and we were handing out pamphlets about your company, and I thought there was a lot of very interest in what you guys are doing. So I'm a big fan of what you guys are doing. I think it's a breakthrough, and I look forward to sort of getting to know you through some of these questions. So without further ado, I'm going to start asking you those questions, okay? So I've got them written down here. So looking at the landscape in 2026, I'd like to know what you consider is to be like, where does CNC post-processing stand? Where does it stand in your idea?
Yes, thank you for this introduction, first of all. And let me start. Yes, post-processing is the most important thing, I think, in CNC machining. And CAM software solutions, all of them right now, have really big problems, with big issues with their post-processing technologies. They are currently, most of them, almost all of them right now, are currently using their very old technologies, which are developed maybe 40 years ago. Starting from 1990s, still they are using the code-based post-processing technologies. And let me introduce myself first. I have started this business in 2002, a very long time ago. I was graduated from the university, and then I started to work in an R&D center about CNC machining. And we had our own 5-axis machine there, the Mazak Vari-axis. And by the way, Creo, I told you before, you remember, was my first CAM system that I have learned and used. And at that time, there was not many, and Creo I really liked it. I did really very fantastic jobs with it. And the issue I had realized at that time was, yes, I can create a toolpath using Creo. By the way, its name was different at that time, of course, Pro Engineer. But I cannot safely run the G codes that I have created using Creo in the 5-axis Vari-axis machine. And I talked to my manager at that time, and I told him that we need something to buy. This is called CNC post-processor. He didn't know that. He was also thinking that CAM system was enough. Then I also told him that I can do it because I was doing my master studies at that moment there, and I have started to develop my own 5-axis post-processor for this machine. But when I start using it, yes, finally, with my own post-processor, I can run the machine. But I have realized that post-processor was not also enough for it. I need something more, like what? I need a simulation tool. Because the simulation inside, there was no simulation inside at the time, in any CAM software, by the way. I need to validate the G codes. Therefore, I also, during my master studies at that time, developed my own simulation software solution. It was very primitive at that time. It wasn't simulating all functions. I didn't have the material removal feature as well. But it was very useful for me because it made me feel safe. That was the reason. I used it a lot. I needed it a lot. Yes, let me turn back to the post-processor question after introducing myself. Yes, I'm following the post-processor technologies of all other CAM systems in the market for a very long time, for more than 20 years now, 25 years, almost 25 years. And nothing changed. Nothing has changed. That's the biggest problem. I think that's a really big problem. Why? Because CAM companies only focus on providing you the post. They don't make investment on the post technologies. They always use the same one. The problem, as you have said, with the existing technologies, no one can train them. No one can be an expert on using it. Therefore, there are really very, very few people who can be expert on using these post technologies, who can create the post processors the industry needs. Okay, I think that's a big headache. When I have realized it about maybe it became now more than 13 years, I have decided to make it simple for everyone. At that time, it was around 2012 or 13. We were also using a code-based structure, but it was really hard for us, even for us, to create post processors for all of our clients. We have a lot of clients now. Yes, as you have said, basically in Turkey, but we also have clients in other countries. It was really hard for us because why? When they need any change, we have to do coding. We have to make changes on the code, like a software program. And it was difficult. It was taking a lot of time. Therefore, we have decided to develop this technology to make it simple for everyone. first of all, for my engineers internally who are providing post-processing service for our clients. Then we have started it, design it. Therefore, let me add it. Developing post-processor technology was also not so easy for us. It took more than 30 years right now. Yes, we have built our own technology in 3 or 4 years, and we have started to use it internally. But I have realized that it should be much better, because the first version was not on the web. It was a desktop application, like some other competitors. We have the post technology. It was good, but it was desktop application. Therefore, it was not accessible by everyone else. It was not free. We cannot open them. Then I realized that I have to make it much more easy for everyone access. Then we have started to develop this web version, cloud version, Post Developer. And we also changed its name, make it Post Developer. And it also took more than 5 or 6 years to make it get this shape, this user interface now. And at last, we are now in 2026. We came a very, very long way. And I believe we are really far away from all of our competitors, because our web tool is unique in the world right now. As you have said, thank you. You can log in now for free. We are not asking for any credit card information. You will have access to all of our libraries of post processors. And all the tools inside Post Developer is open for you, even if it's the free version, because we don't have another version. We only have the free version. And my engineering team is also using the same software internally for doing the post customization for our clients. You'll have access to everything for free. And I think this is a game changer. And even, as you said, even you can also upload your own NCL files, and you can try them with your own test parts, test cam parts. You can download the outputs later on after post-processing. You can try it on your CNC. Everything is free. And what we are doing is, because we want you to be confident about the results. And then, if you're happy with the results, you try it, then you're ready to make the payment. And the good thing about doing the payment is, because everyone is asking me the same question. After you make the payment, you get the post-processor license, a perpetual license. Although it's a web-based application, only your configurator, developer, is on the web. After you've finished customizing your post-processor, you get your license, and you can use it without any need to be online. That's another way we have found to make life easy for our clients, because many of our clients are saying that, oh, we don't have access to a web, how we can use it. No problem. You only use the developer for post customization, post editing. Then no internet connection is needed for it. What can I add more? Yes, let me go back to the question. Now, CNC post-processing is still standing, I think, at the top priority level, because CAM systems still are, CAM software vendors, companies, and resellers are still struggling a lot in CNC post-processor solutions, especially for multitask machines and multi-axis machine tools. And I believe we really have a very interesting solutions for everyone else right now.
Oh, I definitely agree. I just like to highlight a few things you mentioned that I think are important. So I've lost a few clients, working with them to switch their technology to Creo. And once they realized they needed a post processor, I would call one of those other companies, and the cost was extremely high, even more than the software cost for the CAD CAM system itself. One thing I think is really remarkable is the price point. So I was, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was something like $1,400 or $1,500 that you charge to get that post, and that's in perpetuity. So it means I get to use it forever, no subscription. The other thing I think is interesting is, you know, in that first year, I still have access to edit the post processor.
Yes,
so
for free.
For free, exactly. And so I think that's another thing as well. And furthermore, I have talked to clients and I've asked them, you know, what's their experience in creating post processors, and they have none. And these other solutions that are out there, I won't name them, but they're just too difficult. They're not focused on usability. They're not focused on making it easier. It's sort of a pay-to-play situation. So I congratulate you on using the web to create all that technology. I also congratulate you on making sure that your developers are using that tool too. I'm a big believer in when development teams need to use the software that they create. So I think that's a fantastic approach that you've taken. But I can't stress enough the ease of use, the cost to own, the ability to sign up and try it right away is a game changer. And I'm really hoping that, you know, we can get more people in North America using your technology rather than the 4 or 5 that I can count on my hands that make a similar solution. I really do think it's a game changer what you've done, and I really congratulate you. Okay. I do have a couple more questions. Okay. Let's see, make sure what you actually answered here. So where does, you know, you mentioned a CNC simulation. You know, you told me your story when we met, how it was your college project. I think that's fantastic. I didn't know that part of that college project was you writing an NC simulator. Can you talk more about that? Can you talk more about what your NC simulator does? Because I don't want to go to the machine tool and maybe damage the machine tool with something that I wrote. So the ability to simulate that with G-code, I think, is a very interesting scenario, because then you don't have to have the machine with you. But can you talk about that side of your company and what your machine tool simulation can do and offer?
Yes, thank you for this question. Yes, CNC simulation is another big problem in the industry. The industry, I think, didn't face it exactly right now. They're still thinking that the existing solutions within the CAM systems will be a solution for it. But it's not the reality. Reality is different. Why? Because almost all simulations right now in the industry, I'm talking about the ones embedded in the CAM systems, which are available in the CAM systems. Some of them already have the CNC simulations in them. The problem is most of them are not simulating the real G-codes, actual G-codes. That's a big problem. Why? The process flow, I'm always, when my clients are asking, I'm always saying to them that you are following a wrong process flow when you are using a CNC simulation within the CAM. Why? Because it's not using the G-codes created by the post processor. The actual process flow should be like this one. Let me tell you step by step. The first step, you know, starts with CAD, computer-aided design. You get the model. Then using the CAM, you create a toolpath on this 3D model. And then the CNC post-processing, the G-code will be created from this toolpath, from the ACI, from the APT files. Then this G-code should go into the simulation. That's the most important step. And finally, after you verify this G-code will go to the CNC machine tool itself. This is the process flow that should be followed by everyone else to be on the safe side. But most of the CAM systems, what they're offering now, you have the CAM. And then at this stage, after CAM, the process flow divides into 2 sections. One is CNC post-processing, the other is CNC simulation. They are not talking to each other because both are using the same intermediate file, not the G code. Both are using the same file, like the ACI file or like the APTCL file. What does it mean? Even if you got the correct G code on the post processor, since it's not connected to the simulation, you will not get the real verification. Separately, they can work correctly. Okay. But your G code still may have a lot of defects in it. Or just one defect is also enough to get a collusion. Okay. That's a big problem in the industry. And CAM vendors, resellers do not want to mention it a lot because they're always saying that, oh, yes, we have the simulation. You can use it. You will be safe with it. And still, even the big ones are saying, CAM companies are saying the same thing. You can rely on our simulation. Yes, maybe sometimes their client know that their clients know that these are not real G-code simulation. And they're saying that, no problem. Yes, you're right. But we design it so well that even if it's separated, even if it's not simulating the actual G code, you can rely on it because they are designed in that level. But that's nonsense for me because the true path, there is just one true path. Not divided, undivided one, just one process flow. CAM, G code generation, and simulation. Yes, our simulation is following this one process flow rule because this is my first priority to increase the safety in the CNC production. CNC post-processing is one solution for it. To provide the correctly running CNC post-processor. Of course, we will increase your safety. You will machine parts in the right dimension and accuracy. But without the G-code simulation, you cannot rely totally on the post-processor output. That's another problem in the industry. Still, even my clients are saying that, why are you offering me a CNC simulation? Don't you trust your own post? This is a question coming to me sometimes. We are telling them that, no, of course, CNC post-processing is important, but you want to increase your confidence, safety. And sometimes problems do not occur because of the post-processor. Maybe you define a wrong cutting tool holder. Even if the post output is correct, you can still have collisions on the machine because of the wrongly defined cutting tool holder length, diameter, cutting length, fixtures, okay? Therefore, the only correct way is to follow this process fully. G-code simulation is a must for me.
Oh, yes, I agree. I have a little experience with this. So, I used to trust the built-in CAM system simulation, but of course, that didn't really consider my retract. And I didn't find this until I did actually G-code simulation that my retract was gouging the part. I've destroyed end mills, I've destroyed drills, I even destroyed a very expensive Renishaw tool probe without running simulation. So it kind of circumvents the problem. So it gives you that extra assurance. Now, let me ask you about your simulation, because I would understand in order to simulate the machine tool, I would have to have the machine tool kinematics already defined. Does your simulation product already have pre-built machines that I can use, maybe industry standard machines? Can you talk a little bit about that? Or do I need to start from scratch and actually model the machine and so forth?
Yes, very good question. Thank you. This is another big headache in the industry. For instance, you can get a CAM system who is offering you a CNC simulation, but the problem is you have to define your own kinematics. You have to get your own. You have to find the 3D models of your machine tool. Or if you are using a third-party application like ours, still the problem is you buy the simulation software separately. You need to pay an amount for it. And that after buying the software, you have a chance to define your own kinematics and 3D models. But the reality is, CAM programmers, CNC machines do not have time for it. And they again ask for the support of the resell. And what happens next is this reseller is also charging another amount for adapting this 3D model to the simulation. Okay. And this increases the cost a lot because you pay for the software and also for each CNC machine tool. Of course, as I told you, you have a chance to do it on your own, but they're not providing you a full library. You don't have time for it, and you need to get support from them, service. And it has a fee, and not a less one, very high price. You need to pay a very high price for each machine tool support. Therefore, like our post-processor solution, we have thought about it. We have realized that this is also a problem in the industry. And we found a different way, like our post-developer solution. With this purpose, we designed another web application. We call it Sim Editor right now. It's like post-developer. They are sister platforms. Like post-developer, we currently added more than 150 machine tools in it right now. All 3D models, kinematics are defined. We didn't launch it, by the way. We didn't announce it, actually. We are still testing the platform, but we will soon make it open to everyone. And the system will be the same. It will be a free platform. Before buying the simulation, the most important part, you can find your own machine tool there, as we will put all of our library in it. We have a big library, by the way, because we are developing simulation for 15 years now. We have a lot of clients. And after we will add all these machine tools in it, most probably you will find the simulation you will need. And before buying the simulation, you will have a chance to test the simulation with your own machine tool for free. It's like post-developer. If you're saying that, okay, it's working, that's great for me, then you make the payment and you get the full license, a permanent license again. You don't need to be online again. Our biggest part then will be you will have an access to a huge library of simulations before buying the software. Another advantage, if we don't have the machine tool in our library, then again, our sim editor has a kinematics section where you can define your own kinematics and you can put your own 3D models. That means still, again, you can test your own machine tool, the simulation, for free. This is not something offered by our competitors right now. First, you need to get the simulation, or maybe you will get a 1-month license first. But of this 1 month will not be enough for you, of course, to define your own machine tool from scratch, because you need to learn the software, how to define the kinematics. And no one is doing it. They just put some machine tools in it, and you have to test it with these existing ones.
Can you talk about
another thing, like other than our competitors, different than our competitors. We don't charge for simulation right now. We are charging for each machine tool simulation.
I wanted you to briefly mention several of the machines that are in that. Do you have a Haas, Makino? I mean, what kind of machine tools have you already built simulators for in that 150 that you mentioned?
Yes, we have a lot of Mazak machines.
Mazak?
So and DMG Mori machines, 5-axis, 4-axis, 3-axis, mill turns like NTX. or Mazak Integrex machines. We also have Makino machines in it as well. Pass machines, we have put it there. And we also have post processors for all of them. Okuma machines, we have it. I think all well-known brands, most common brands are now in the library. And as I told you, we will add more continuously because we have a bigger one. But we don't put these machine tools in the library before validating. We need to validate them first, and it takes some time. But if anyone needs an urgent support, urgent machine tool, they can inform us and we can speed up the process. If they need something, they can, and if they cannot find it in the library, most probably we already have it in our database. And if they can send a message, we can speed up the process. We can put it in the library.
That's great. And something else I guess you would, the next innovation I think you've worked on is the ability to do G-code optimization. So what I find fascinating about this, because maybe you use the simulation software that you have, but in my CAM system, I had a lot of error cuts.
Yeah.
Like I could not get the CAM system to give me an optimal tool path. So I wasted a lot of time when the machine tool was running, cutting air. And I could imagine in situations where you've got a lot of production, just saving 30 seconds, maybe even 10 seconds off the machine tool cycle time can lead to thousands and thousands of dollars in savings. So tell me a little bit about that innovation too, because I really think that goes really well with the post and the simulation, but this G-code optimization, how does it work? What does it do for you? And how does it actually save me time cutting air?
Yes, another good question. Thank you. G-code optimization is another game changer for the industry. There are solutions right now in the market, and we are also providing one. And like simulation, I think it should be a must. It should be added in the process flow, but not just after G-code simulation. It should be designed so well that it should be working together with the simulation. What I'm saying is, and what we are doing right now is, optimizing the G-code is so easy, so straightforward. You don't need to learn the software. There is no learning, how can I say, learning time for it. What we're doing is, our optimization is completely embedded inside the simulation. And when you run the G-code simulation with your own machine tool kinematics, the optimization runs in the background. There are only small settings. You just have to define some parameters before optimization, like how much you want to optimize it. The aggressiveness ratio, like this one, for instance. Or even maybe you can cancel some, at some points of the NC program, you can cancel the optimizations. There are some kinds of small settings before starting the optimization. Then all you have to do is you run the simulation, and in the background, the optimization runs. And at the end of the simulation, it gives you an optimized version of the NC program. And also it gives you the approximate time of saving, how much we reduce the cycle time. It's currently a theoretical time, but we are still working on it and we are improving on it. We have some other projects. We always have projects, by the way. And after we have implemented it totally, fully, it will give you the exact results, how much you will get from your machine tool. Now, it's like an approximate result. For instance, it will tell you that you will reduce the cycle time by 20%. That means you will get 15 to 25% on your machine tool. But we will improve the accuracy of this time calculation. We are doing it right now. And the optimization, as I told you, should be another very important step of this process flow. But it shouldn't take time of the CAM programmer to do the optimization. when we talk our clients, we have a lot of clients, by the way, using our post-processor. And when we are telling them that, okay, you can use our solution to optimize the process. And the first response, most of the time, they don't want to use another software. They're always telling us that, look, I don't want to learn another software. I'm using that CAM, and it took me so much time to learn it, and I don't have time for it. Everything is urgent, in the shop floor. They have to create the G codes as soon as possible, and they have to run the machine too. Therefore, this is also correct for simulation and optimization. And this is also something that we are really very powerful at. We don't have a learning curve for simulation and optimization. It's our training when one of our clients buys the software. We just provide them a 1 hour or 2 hours training. That's enough. Because we have integrations with the CAM tools. We can get all the information within the CAMs with just a few clicks, like the stock material, the target model, cutting tools, holders, everything. And really, your simulation and optimization tool together is maybe the easiest tool right now to use in the world. Therefore, what we are telling them is, you don't need to learn another software. This is not like a CAM tool, because CAM tool obviously should have a lot of functions in it, a lot of buttons. Maybe you want to do 5-axis swarf milling, bull nose milling, many tools, 3-axis, 2+, 5-axis. But our tool is not like a CAM tool. It's like an analyze tool. You just put the information, all the information you have created in the CAM, and just press the start. That's all. And when we have told them that you don't need to learn any software, then this makes sense for them. Why? Because about the optimization, we are talking to the clients, and what we have realized is the CAM programmers and CNC machinists do not want to use another software if it will be hard for them. Shop floor owners, they want to use it because, optimization will increase their profit. And this solution, therefore, both optimizing the G code and at the same time making it so easy for everyone to use it, makes sense for both sides. Both the CAM programmers are happy for using it, and the shop owner is happy, of course, because they can increase their profits. Because reducing cycle time is the most important thing right now. Even, as you have said, even reducing it 5%. Maybe it seems not much at first, but if you're producing thousands of parts, at total, it makes a big difference.
I remember this when I was in the machine shop running machine tools. My supervisor would come by, and if he saw the machine cutting air, he would get really upset. Speed that up. So I'd sometimes be at the machine tool speeding up the speed manually. So I definitely get what you're doing. Let's talk a little bit about how you're doing this. I would imagine the simulation software knows the stock. It knows what it already cut, since the reference part is in there. Is it merely just speeding up areas where it's cutting air? Is that what it's doing? Does it turn that into rapid motion or a fast feed rate? How are you, what does it do with the code? Does it alter the G code, or does it split it up in pieces so that I can go faster when I'm cutting air?
Yes, we have some different modules. The first one is, as you have said, is the air cuts detection and air cuts feed rate increase. What we are doing is we detect the uncut regions on the toolpaths, and we can increase their feed rates. And it's your choice. Maybe if you want, you can increase the feed rate to rapid move, or you can define an air cut feed rate for it, and we change the feed rates of these uncut regions. And for instance, if it's a long run, just one NC line, long move, we can divide it into portions, and we can just only increase the air cut portions on these toolpaths. We can do it as well. And another thing, we can not only detect the air cuts, we can also detect the touch moves. We call it touch moves. Maybe our competitors are giving it a different name. What does it mean? It's like air cut, by the way. It doesn't create any chip at that line, but it's touching the stock reference model, reference part. Therefore, you can define for these touch moves, you can define a different feed rate, which is a little bit lower than this air cut feed rate. But still, there will be a really big optimization in these touch feed rates, because these touch moves happen a lot during CAN programming, And this is one feature we have. But second one is another big one, maybe bigger than the first one. We can also increase the feed rates of the cutting moves. And we are doing it in a very smart way. Very, very smart way. How we are doing it? Let me tell you how we are not doing it first, because our competitors are doing it in a very complex way. You have to define the type of the material, like aluminum, like titanium, like steel, so on. And what else? You have to define the cutting tool geometry in full detail, like how many teeth it has, what is the fluid length, fluid angle, helix angle, is it serrated or not? You have to do a lot of settings definition. You have to define a lot of things in the settings. And what they're doing is, based on these all this information, they're calculating a theoretical feed rate value. And most of the time, you cannot use it on the machine tool. In the first trial, on the first run, you will not get good results. You have to tweak on these parameters later on, change these parameters. You need to make a second trial run or a third one, because all these are theoretical values. What we are doing is, let me tell you now, we don't need to define any material. We don't need to define any details about the cutting tool. What we are doing is, we take the data, the necessary data from your NC program, G codes, because you are the one who knows best about your machining, how powerful your machine tool is, how good your cutting tool, how can I say, cutting tool is. Maybe it's a long one or a smaller one. There will be a chatter on it. You cannot give very high feed rates. And maybe you're mounting the parts is not so strong. I don't know, I'm using the correct English word for it. Maybe you use very long bolts and nuts to mount the part on the table. And there will be, if you give very high feed rates, you will get vibrations with the parts, not a good surface quality or machining quality. And what we are doing is, therefore, we think that you know the best about your machine tool, and we get the information from the NC program. At each line, we calculate the cutting tool, cutting details, all the details. And I will not give all the technical information right now, but if anyone interested, yes, we can make an online demonstration anytime they want. And within these, all the details we have generated, which we all get from the NC program, we select the best ones, like the highest cutting area, highest width of cut, highest depth of cut, and it should be also a safe cut. It shouldn't be a, how can I say? It should be a, we can also detect the cutting, how can I say in English, smoothness. And we select the most safe one, but also which has the highest feed rate with highest cutting volume, for instance. And based on this value, we calculate the feed rates for all the NC program from scratch. What does it mean? we use the feed rate you have been using right now on your NC program, because you already tried it. You already changed it, play with the potentiometer, as you have said. Your problem is you cannot define feed rates separately for each NC program. NC line, sorry, because all have different width of cuts, depth of cuts, cutting areas. Based on your actual cutting data, we get the best result, and we apply this best result for all other NC lines. And what we are telling to the client, at first run trial, we will provide you a good solution. Later on, if you want to increase the reduction rate, you can play with it, play with some parameters to do it. But at first run, you will get the good machining quality and also a surface quality. I think we are the only company, by the way, who is doing it, who is getting all the information from the NC program.
That sounds fantastic. I can't wait to give it a try. I've not used it personally, but that would be the next thing, because when I watch my CAM system simulation, I usually speed it up really fast because I only want to watch the toolpath in seconds. But in reality, when I go and run this program, I can see, oh no, it's wasting a lot of time cutting air back and forth. So I agree with you. I think it's an important step and will make life easier and hopefully, you know, shave off hours from air cutting, turning those into rapid moves or rapid feed rate moves. So really interesting product. Just moving along here, I'd like to, you know, my favorite CAM system is Creo. I've been using it for about 35 years. I've had the opportunity to teach it. What is, and I know the answer to this, but does your product work with Creo? And if it does, I'd like to know what's in the future, perhaps, for Creo. Can I get more people using your product that use Creo? Get them off of using the other post processors that are out there. And then also, just as a follow-up, I'd like you to mention some of the CAM vendors that you work with. I know it's not just Creo, but I think you offer it for other CAM systems as well. But in the short, what can I expect in Creo?
Okay, yes, we are supporting Creo for a very long time, by the way. Maybe it was the first, maybe one of the first CAM systems we have developed the post processor for.
Right. Yeah.
And these companies are still using them. That's good for me. Maybe for almost 20 years now. And that means, and in the following years, we also increase our level of integration with Creo. And now for post-processing and also for simulation, we have a full integration. And you can get all the information from Creo with just a few steps. And therefore, for Creo users, it's really very easy to start your simulation. Just a couple of seconds, most of the time, maybe a few seconds, let me say, will be enough to run our simulation. And yes, our plan is, therefore, for all Creo users right now, we can provide a solution. All these huge post library is, what does it mean? All these post processor library can be used with Creo and also the simulation. And our future plan is we also even want to increase our level of integration with Creo, and we have some plans. I don't want to announce it right now because it's not official, you know what I'm talking about, by the way. And after we have, how can I say, in a few months maybe, we will increase our level of integration with Creo even more. What does it mean? With just one click, our Creo users will run the simulation automatically within Creo. Oh. Yes.
Nice.
Yes, because all the things will be transferred automatically, and our simulation will be opened automatically with all these transfer data. And what they need to do is just press the play button. Okay, yes, therefore Creo is very important for me because, as I told you, it's one of the maybe the first CAM systems I have. I have provided I have developed the post processor for. And yes, but it's not the only one, as you have said. We are supporting a lot of CAM systems now, almost 20 right now.
20.
20,
Wow.
and even more maybe. The major ones, the weak ones like NX, Mastercam, Katia, Delmia, Hypermill, PowerMill, so on. A lot. We have solutions for almost all CAM systems.
All right. Well, let me sort of wrap up this with some other questions I'm very curious about. I wonder what the future of MANUS is. I think you're constantly innovating and developing, but there's been some new innovations such as AI, computing resources, usability. But what's in the future of MANUS? What are you working on that you could share with us now that might make this solution even more interesting?
Yes, something really very, very interesting will come to our interface very soon. Yes, it's about AI. AI is so important right now. Everyone should use it. Actually, everyone is using it right now, but the companies also should add these AI capabilities within their software. And what we are doing is completely using AI in wherever we can use. That's the main topic we focus a lot right now. Yes, we will use AI inside Post Developer. That will be a really big game changer. What does it mean? Where we will use it, let me tell you, because it's not a secret. And hopefully, this AI feature will be ready for the AMB Stuttgart exhibition and also for the IMTS Chicago exhibition in 3 months. I think we have 3 or 4 months at most. Using this AI feature in Post Developer, you will not need to learn or post interface. Okay, what we have done so far, because as we have said at the beginning, being a post processor expert takes a lot of time for people. Therefore, it's so expensive. It takes maybe 4 or 5 years to make someone expert on creating post processors, to using I'm talking about the old technologies right now, the code-based ones.
The legacy systems, yeah.
Legacy systems, yes. Or no-code approach. With our no-code approach, we reduce this time to months instead of years. Now, it only takes 2 or 3 months for you to be an expert on using the solution. But with this AI feature, you will not even need to learn how to use the interface. You will just write what you need, what kind of change you need on the G codes as a prompt. And the post agent in the background will do the change automatically. You will get the proper post with just entering some prompts. We are testing it right now. It's working, by the way, and it will be a really big game changer. A second one, let me tell you about the Post Developer. I will talk something about different now, not AI. Another important thing is this simulation. You asked me the same question in Las Vegas, how to verify this G codes. Yes, you can create the post processor. We can make it so easy for everyone. They can do it with AI agents. But at the end, people want to be on the safe side. They want to verify the G code before running it on their CNC. What we are doing will be a game changer again. And we are doing it right now. Again, I hope it will be ready for the exhibitions. We are putting a simulate button just inside post processor. And without any need to download our simulation, with just one click, after you create the G code inside Post Developer, you will see the simulate button there. You will click on it, and without downloading any software, on the web, you will see what will happen on the machine tool. I'm talking about the actual G code simulation. We will run actual G code simulation within post-processor. That will be another game changer, I think, for the market. For the simulation, we have a lot of projects again for optimization. Again, most of them are related with using AI. Maybe I can give some details if anyone is interested, because it will take so much time. But AI is the future. Every company should use it, should implement it. Of course, we are individually using it in our daily lives. But the big change comes from using it as AI agent within the software solutions. And there are lots of places to use it. Also, in simulation, for instance, we have currently 3 projects running now. Okay. And our advantages, we can use it because we have software. We have the software. And AI, the important thing about using AI, first you need to have software, and you need to have the data. And we have a lot of simulation projects, testing projects or clients projects, and we can train the software for many different purposes to increase the accuracy of the results. And what we are doing right now is exactly this one. We are using AI in every possible place.
That's fantastic. I mean, I've met people before that understand how onerous creating posts can be. And if I just merely suggest, what if AI could do the job for you, they get very excited. I've not really heard of anybody making an AI-powered post-processing development tool. You may be the first.
Yes.
Right? So, and I also heard you mention you're going to be at a couple of machine tool shows. I know that you're going to be at the IMTS show in Chicago, I believe it is. I hope to be there myself.
Yes.
Will you have a booth there so people can learn about your product there?
Yes, we will have a booth, and this will be our 3rd time participating in this IMTS, because US market is so important for me. And we also have a company right now in US, and if anyone comes to show IMTS, it will be a pleasure for me to have them in our booths. And we will also have a booth at the same time in Stuttgart in AMB as well. And for all people in Germany who is watching this interview, it's also good for us to meet with them there.
Well, I think they definitely should check you out. So definitely, I'll be there at the IMTS show walking around. I won't have a booth, but I'll be hanging out at your booth. So anybody that wants to come talk to me and Ender, I certainly welcome that. I'm a really big fan of what you guys are doing, as you know. I think it's disruptive. I think it's interesting. And I think it's a common problem that people run into, because they almost forget that you need to have a post processor to get that CAM software to communicate with these machines. I also know these machines are getting more complicated. When I was in the industry, the most complicated machine we had was a 5-axis. Now we've got mill turn machines with multiple turrets, multi-axes. You've got robots. So, you know, I think these machines are getting even more complex, and I think there warrants the need to be able to simulate this before it gets sent to the shop. In my experience, I've actually ruined a machine tool because I skipped that important step. I accidentally, ruined a machine that cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars to get fixed. I had to have a company come in and a mechanic come in and fix that machine. So I think it's very risky to just run anybody's post processor and run it on the machine tool. You could actually hurt people too. I was very lucky in my situation where we had a big shroud around the machine. But if that shroud wasn't there, if that safety gear wasn't included, I might have killed someone. And that would really have ruined my entire career. So in closing, it's been great to get to know you, Ender. I'm hoping that other people are watching this or visiting your website. How may people contact you and find out more about your company? Do you just want to let them know that? What's your
Yes,
website? How do they contact you? How do they learn more?
yes, we have our website is how can I pronounce it in English? I don't know.
Manus NC.
manusnc.com. Okay, okay, and we also have a LinkedIn account. We are very active there, and they just need to search for Manus software there.
I believe when we were getting to know each other at PTC User, I asked you where that name Manus came from. Do you want to tell everybody where that name came from?
Yes. Actually, I have found this name when I was doing my master's studies. It was the origin of the manufacturing word. Manufacturing is a word, combination of two words actually, two Latin words. The first one is manus. It means hand in Latin. And the other one is something like fracta, something like that. It's hammer in Latin. And I have decided to use the first of these words of the combination, the manus. Manus, because also means it means like manufacturing solutions. It's the shorter version of manufacturing solutions. Therefore, we have decided to use this word.
Well, I think it's a great name, and I think it's a great product, and I think it's fascinating to know you're actually not new. You've been out there for 20 years. It took 20 years for me to find you, but I'm very glad that I've got to know you. Like I said, I'm a big fan of your company. I hope anybody listening and watching to this checks out manusnc.com. I hope that you can go to the IMTS tool show and go definitely connect with Ender and his colleagues at the company. By the way, I was looking at your company through LinkedIn, and I found out you have quite a bit of engineers that work at your company, and they're not just software developers; they're actually mechanical engineers. So I think that's very interesting. Can you tell me a little bit about your team? How many people do you have working on this product, and what are their backgrounds?
Yes, we have 25 people right now, I guess.
Really?
And we have the software team and also the engineering team. Why? Because of course we need the software team to do all these solutions, but the engineering team is also very important for us. Why? Because we are also using our own software, like post-processing technology, to create post-processor for our clients. Therefore, our first customer is our engineering team for our software. And the important thing here is, for me, most of our employees are working for us for more than 10 years now. That's very important in our industry, because becoming an expert on these products and also CNC machining, control units, kinematics, mathematics, there are a lot of things you need to learn to provide the quality technical support. And therefore, our engineering team is so valuable for me, and they're also providing support for all our global clients, not only for Turkish clients, but also for all of global clients. And what we have done for you is something similar for your pocket NC machine, Although we didn't have it in your library, it took us only a couple of days to make it ready for you to show it in the user event. And that's therefore very important for me to have this very expert engineering team. But my second goal is to make everyone to be expert on using our software solutions. Okay, and the good thing is it will not take so much time now for them to use it. With these groundbreaking technologies we will have very soon, like AI, like simulation, I'm saying that I claim that it will take maybe just a couple of days for them to use the software, the post-processor technology we have.
Well, I can't wait to get my hands on it. Like I said, I'm a fan, and something I just want to mention to the people who are listening. When I developed and worked with you for the Pocket NC, which is a 5-axis multi-axis machine tool, it's very small. It's about the size of a toaster oven. But something I didn't notice till later on is that the B axis can only rotate 999 degrees or minus 990 degrees. That's about 22 turns. And then it starts erroring. So when I found this, I wrote to one of your staff, and in a matter of hours, he replied to me with a fix. I didn't have to go searching for that. But what I did is I found out there's a special M999 command that allows you to reset the B axis back to something within the range of 360 degrees. And that made the whole problem go away. So I think having good people on your team that understand mechanics, understand the kinematics, and actually know the software, even as simple as it is to use, I really appreciate that you have a staff of people who can answer these questions. So I've really gotten to know your staff a little bit. So, and I hope maybe one day I can meet them in person.
I hope so. I told you, you're invited to Turkey anytime you want.
Yeah, he told me. Exactly. I've been following what your team does. You have outings. You have all kinds of interesting things going on. So it very much sounds like a family business. You seem like you treat your employees very nicely. So I congratulate you on that. So that's it. That's the questions I wanted to answer and ask you as well. Do you have any final closing words before we end the interview, Ender?
Yes. I really want people to follow us, especially on social media, because I have just mentioned some of them, but we already have really groundbreaking technologies, game-changing technologies. But we will have some other big ones very soon. Therefore, I really want them to follow us, both about optimization, simulation, and post-processing. I think we will change the future of CNC machining in all these technologies, and they will find all these things very interesting for them. This is my final word. Okay.
Yeah, I think you're very innovative, and maybe the most innovative company I've seen recently tackling this really old world problem. You know, I think of these post processors as being stuck in the dark ages. You know, hardly any new development's been happening. It's very hard to buy technology and learn it. It takes a special person to understand how to write code with these other solutions. I find your solution to be so easy to use, and just to learn that you're already tackling AI and that you're going to do more, I think it's fascinating. So what is the hashtag that people would follow you on? Is it hashtag ManusNC? Is it what's the symbol you guys use in your social media post?
Yeah, I don't think that we are using the hashtag a lot. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
Yes, they just need to search for the Manus software there, and I'm quite sure they will find us very easily.
Well, that's great. And I would challenge anybody that's watching this to go to the website, sign up for free. Even if you're not looking for a post processor, I think you should try to use one of the ones they are there. They're already free. Upload your NCL file with your favorite CAM system and start experiencing this new world of a system that is easy to use, simple. I've been able to make post processors myself without any videos, without any training, and I'm going to continue to do that. So, all right, well, that's the interview, and I really appreciate you meeting with me, Ender. As I said again, manusnc.com is the website. You'll be at a couple of shows, including the IMTS coming up in a few months in Chicago, I believe. But thank you very much for meeting with me, Ender. It's been a pleasure.
It's also a pleasure for me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
See you soon, very soon.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.